So today we would proceed. So I would encourage all of you to revise what we've done since we started. So because we would have a quiz next week Sunday. So after that, next week Sunday, every time after that you'll be having a quiz every Thursday. So yesterday we talked about how we can manipulate the list, how we can do things with the list. So the list is one of the most important data types, as we already mentioned to all of you. We've talked about several things we could do with it, and we want to mention more things we could do with the list. So among the other things we can do with the list is for you to remove something from the list. So when you remove something from the list, you just mention the name of your list, then dot remove. Then what you want to remove from it, you mention it, then you press enter, and that's it. So it's as easy as that. Nevertheless, if you get the codes wrongly, you will continue to suffer with it. So as you can see on the screen, it says if there are more than one item with specified values, the remove method removes the first occurrence. So let's say you have 2 bananas and you use remove, and you use what? You use remove. So what would happen is it's gonna remove the first one and it's gonna leave the second one. So if you remove banana again, then it removes the second one. So, and that we did yesterday, and I think we all saw that. So today we're gonna move on to the next one where you want to remove a specified index. You want to remove a specified index because all of the removal we've been doing, we've talked about the insert. I want to recap what we've talked about. We've talked about insert. We've talked about remove. And we've talked about what? Append. So I told you append would join the new thing you want to append, dot append. Then you put that thing into what? It takes only one argument. So what you want to append, like mango. So, but when you want to insert, it takes how many? It takes 2 arguments. So you want to insert into index number 2. What do you want to insert into it? Banana. So this is how you do it. If you want to remove, how many arguments does it take? Type your answer in the meeting chat. Let me know. Well, you want to remove how many arguments does it take? 1 or 2? 1. 1. That's good. So why am I having only 2 responses? Does it mean these are the only 2 people listening? Okay. So next time I'm asking you a question this way, you tell me the answer, you click on this everyone and click on my name. You send it to me directly. All right. So that I can keep it private. So it is gonna have only a remove would have only 1 argument. So if I want to remove banana, I say remove banana. If I want to append, I just append mango. So the difference between append and insert is that insert will put in between an index. You can also insert between a set of you can insert between 1 and 3. and you're gonna list what you have to insert. So all of this, we've done it before. I would like you to go back and review everything from the beginning. So you saw the insert, you saw this, you want this. So this list, if you want to insert into a space, just this list, or you write the name of the list. Then insert takes 2 arguments, while append takes only 1 argument, and extend. So we talked about extend as well. Extend, we can use that to combine two lists together to become one. And extend is also taking only 1 argument. So after extend, then we have remove. So we also have extend, it takes 1 argument. Then we have remove, we already mentioned it. So today we're going to go to another one, which is called pop. So pop is an argument which you remove. So the pop method removes a specified index. So you will specify the index you want to remove using the pop keyword. So you say remove the second item, you will say this list equals to open the list. So then say the name of the list, the pop index number 1. So then print the list is going to pop off the banana. So pop means delete it, take it off. I don't want to have it. So if you don't specify the index, the pop method removes the last item. So if you did not write the argument, if you did not write anything inside this place, if you just write dot pop and do this, it's going to remove the last because it is a list. So it's going to see it as if it's arranged from 1 to the second to the third. So it sees the last one as the first one to remove because it's the first, because it's the first one to be inserted. We're going to talk about this later on. We're going to talk about first to put, last to remove. So we talked about that in the cloud computing. So we will talk about that in more detail later on. So because someone might ask you, when we use the pop keyword, why does it remove the last one? And when we use append, why does it put it at the last? So the reason why I put it at the last is because it's arranging it in order. And also pop will say the first to last to add, first to remove. Let me give an example of what I'm saying. Let's say, for example, you have a container. I don't know sometimes. Just give me 1 minute. Let's say you have a container, and this container, I'm just trying to tell you everything specific about lists now. So let's say you have a container. So this is a container here. So this container, you put in glass plates. What's wrong with this? You put in glass containers. So you put 1, you put 2, you put 3, you put 4, you put 5, you put 6, you put 7, you put 8, you put 9, you put 10, you put 11, and you put 12. Now someone tells you, go and remove item number 1 for me. And this is the end of the bucket. This is the bucket. Can someone tell me how to remove item number 1? Type the message, and let me pause the recording. 11 items before you remove 1. So this is something which programming language has come to solve for everybody. So that's the reason why if you did not put any argument in your pop, it's gonna remove the last item. So it's gonna automatically remove it. So when you say pop, it pops 1, it pops 2, it pops 3, it pops 4, pops 5, pops 6, pop. It pops it until it gets to the last one. Understood? So this is why, example, the last item. So if you say the list equals to this list dot pop, it's gonna pop cherry off. Then it pops banana, then it pops apple. Because this is the first to enter the list. This is the second, this is the third. So, but the way it's been arranged is that it says apple as index number 1, banana as index number 0, 1, and 2. So now in the mentality, it feels that apple is here and banana is here and cherry because it's having index number 2. So it's like this is having index 0, 1, and 2. So of course, this is the last item in the list, and that's why it's going to pop this off. Is that understood? Do we understand it? Okay, if we understand it, then we should move on to the next level. So there is another keyword called the delete keyword. So the delete keyword will also remove a specified index. Before we move to the delete keyword, let's try to write some code on the pop so that we can see how it actually works. So give me 1 minute. Let's write some code on the pop. So the delete keyword example will remove the first item. So you say this lace, apple, banana, cherry, deal this lace, then 0. In this deal, I don't encourage people to use it because if you refuse or you forgot to put a specific index, it's going to delete all of your list. And imagine the company has been piling up a list for 10 years. And you got hired as a data analyst or as a software engineer, and you deleted all the list in one day. You know what's going to happen, huh? I think that day you get fired too, because you caused the problem, you caused a big problem for the company. So this is why I would never encourage students to use the deal easily. So except you've decided to delete all the lists you have in your database. So this is why it says the deal keyword can also delete the list completely. So example, when you say deal this list. So when you don't have any index in it, it's going to delete completely the whole list. So let's go to Google Colab and do some of these examples we've mentioned so that we can see in reality how it actually works. So we're gonna start from where we stopped yesterday. So we'll open a new code. Oh. So we'll open a new code. So let's copy a new list. So let's have a list of let's have list. It's not gonna work. I'll just copy and paste it. Okay. I can have list. Comes to. So this is my list. So then I want to delete something. I want to pop up something. So I'll say list, open my list.pop is a pop. Then I open my parentheses. I want to pop number 1, index number 1. So when I run the list, it's going to tell me what the list is. Then I run the list.pop. So list.pop is not actually supposed to give me what is being popped out. So, but this is showing me. So now let's print the list and see if it's actually popped it out or not. So print list. Let's run it. So it didn't pop it. It didn't pop it out. So what happened here? We're supposed to have the index number 1 being popped out. So that means it's not done. Okay, it's popped 1 out actually, because we've got 3 there. So it worked. It popped out index number 1. So we have the remaining 2 here. So let's try to see. Let's try to pop out another index. Let's say list dot pop. Let's try to use a negative index. So then let's run it. So it says it's going to pop out blackcurrant. So now let's print the list. Let's print the list. So now blackcurrant is popped out. So now let's run the print. Let's run the pop list dot pop and open the parentheses without putting anything. So it says it's going to pop out orange because that is the last item in the list. So now let's print the list again. Now, can you see your list is now becoming something else? So that's why if you work with data or you work in any company as data engineer or data analyst, it's very good for you to do. It's a very good procedure or very good way to deal with data by having a duplicate. So because when you continue to manipulate or wrangle or engineer your data, you might get to a level and you want to go back to the original data. So now look at me. I've done a lot of engineering to my data. I've panabated it. I've done a lot of things to it. Now I want to have my list back. So, but fortunately for me, I have I have a backup, which is the one, which is this. So I can call the list 2, I can run the list 2 and call it. So if not because I have a backup code list 2, now I'm going to lose all my data. It cannot even find it again. So there is a way we can run everything. There is a way you can run everything in the, so you can, I think, yeah, you can select all the cells. Then you can run all the cells, select all the cells. And you can command enter all of it. I don't think this is the way I used to do it. So there is a way we can run everything in the cell. Let me find it here. Run all, okay. So it's gonna run everything. So it's got stuck here. Why? List object is not callable. Yeah, we cannot call list object. So just delete this and don't worry yourself. So it's got problems. It's got problems. Got problems. It's got problems. Got problems. Problems. It's got a lot of problems. Why? So let me run everything again. So now it's run everything. So you don't have problems instead of running one after the other. So now let's call list 2. Sorry. Let's call list 2. Let's go down and call list 2. So this is what you're supposed to do every day if you want to start writing code in Jupyter Notebook or Google Colab. You should run everything. So let's print list 2 now. So now we've got the list 2 back. So now, what do we want to do? Let's say we want to delete something from list 2. So as I've told you before, so the first thing you'd say is you say del, the del keyword, then the name of the list 2, then you open for example, you want to delete item in index number 4. So you run it. So you will see the popping and the deleting is not much, there's not much difference between it. But the only reason why I encourage you to use the pop is because sometimes you might forget to specify what you want to delete, whereas you're going to delete everything you have in your database. So index number 4 is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So watermelon is been deleted. Watermelon is been deleted from the list using the del keyword. So these are the basic keywords we should know. So what about if I if I say del and I did not specify, it's going to delete everything in the list. But I don't want to delete everything in the list now. So I still want to use it more. So there is another one which is called the clear. There is another one which is called the clear keyword. Oh, I expect you to have a copybook and make sure you're writing all of these keywords and know how to use them. So the clear keyword, the clear method empties the list. So it makes the list, it makes it empty. So the list still remains, but it has no content. So, you know, sometimes let's say you have a list that you want to update the content. You want to make sure the list is empty and you want to have another set of values in the list. So you just use the clear. So the clear keyword will remove everything you have in the list. It's going to render the list empty, and it's going to have, you're going to have to input some other things into it. So clear the list content, which you see, you say the list, this list are clear. So when you print the list, you're going to have you're going to have only the angle bracket. So before we move on into loop, I want us to understand all of these points very, very well. So the clear keyword would help you clear a what? So the clear keyword will help to clear a list. So you say list 2.clear. So then you print list 2. It's going to give you this. That's what you have. So when you say clear list 2, you're going to have that because it's going to render everything in the list empty. So let's so now let's move on to so let's move on to the next. Oh, someone is asking now, why didn't you write list dot del, right? So the way we write the way we write a del keyword is going to be before the name of the list. We don't usually use dot delete because delete itself is one of the most powerful keyword used in programming. So this is why we put it before the list itself, then before we put it in the before we put the word delete in the parentheses. So that's a very good question. So let's go back and see how many keywords we've talked about. Now list the keywords we've talked about, everybody. We've talked about what? Talked about in on the list, how many keywords did we talk about? We talked about pop. We talked about what? Remove. We talked about what? Delete. We talked about insert. What other ones did we talk about? Clear.
Extend.
We talked about extend. Now we talked about append. So do we still have one more? So pop would remove what? Remove an index. How many argument does pop take? It takes one argument. What about remove? How many arguments? How many argument does remove have? So it also has one argument. What about delete keyword has only one argument as well. What about insert? How many arguments? How many arguments does insert have? It's got 2 arguments. So you mentioned the index like 3, and what you want to insert like orange. So what about clear? How many arguments does it have? Are you sure? Clear? Clear doesn't have argument. Yeah, thank you, Sheriff Agbola. It does not have. So we rather say 0 argument. What about extend? How many argument does extend have? Hmm? How many argument does extend have? So we're extending a list with another list. So it's only going to have that list we want to extend, which is 1. What about append? How many arguments does append have? 1. Okay. Thank you very much. So you need to know these things very well. Know the argument and know what it does. So these are the type of questions you get asked in the exam, because having to have a Python exam on your resume is very good. So when you have it on your resume, it's amazing, because the exam would show the HR that you've actually got yourself tested and you pass the test. So because if you don't pass the test, they would have some doubt that can it be actually good for what you want to use them for. But once you've done the assessment and you have it on your LinkedIn, or you have it on your CV, they would easily know that before he could pass this test, that means he has a very solid understanding of what we're talking about. So this is why I would encourage you to make sure you have a copybook, as I mentioned to you before. Have a copybook and make sure you always jot things down in your copybook. So this is the best way to make sure that you are keeping yourself ready for the challenges ahead of you. So I would have said I should dabble into the new lesson, which is a loop. But loop is one of the most powerful tools we use in Python. So I would not want to start it except I'm done testing you with what we've done. So, but this is actually a loop for list. Someone was asking me the other time that how can we print items in the list one by one? So, for example, you want to print something one by one in a list. How can you do it? So this is a very amazing thing. So if you want to do that, there is what we call loop. You have to loop through the list. So once you loop through the list, then you will be able to see what you want to have. So let's say, for example, this is a list, isn't it? And I want to loop through. And I want to go through everything in the list and I want to see if something is there. So I will say for, that's the first thing you write. For, that's why it's called for loop. For X in list 2, for X in list 2. I want you to know how to write this, then colon, then print what? Print X. Print X. Some people would always say, must we use X? So now I can see it's printed everything in my list. So you can see everything you have in your list. So I would ask you, must we use X? I can say for fruits in list 2, print what? Print fruits. So the most important thing is the name has to be different. Because, people would say, yeah, must we use X, must we use Y, whatever. No, just know how to use a for loop. For fruits in list 2, print fruits after your colon. So you need to know how to put these things together. So this is what we call a for loop. So a for loop is going to help to loop through the list. So you can loop through the list item for using a for loop. So if you want to print array, you want to print everything you have in the list one after the other in a row. So this is how to convert something you have in the list to something you want to have on a row. So this is how we do it. So for fruits in list 2, print fruits. So it's pretty easy, right? So you will learn for loops later when we move further, but we just try to introduce you to what it is now. So I think we've done enough today. So I would encourage you to prepare yourself more over the weekend for some said they've got I'm supposed to use. So prepare yourself against the quiz on Sunday, hopefully. So we'll see you then.